Payroll Tax Delayed. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Let's have a look at this article from news.com discussing, well, the relief. 3 months for not paying payroll tax. I'm sure you're going to have to pay it later. But before we go through this, let's have a look at this from the ATO website. You know, the post-war changes to the state tax base. And here you've got payroll taxes. The federal government introduced payroll tax in 1941 to finance a national scheme for child endowment. The tax applies as a 2.5% levy. Oh, applied. Now it's over 4%. It's funny that how taxes always go up on payrolls, with the federal government assuming control of the income tax base. The states lobbied for access to payroll tax, and in 1971 the federal government handed over payroll taxes to the states, acknowledging that this tax represented the sole possible growth tax available to the states. During the following 3 years, the states uniformly increased the rate from 2.5% to 5%. Over time, the uniformity of state payroll tax rates has been eroded as the base to which they're applied. State payroll taxes are now levied at rates ranging from 4.75% and 6.85%. Tax competition between states and lobbying by individual employers and employer groups for exemptions has reduced the payroll tax base to less than half of the comprehensive labor income tax base. Nevertheless, payroll taxes are still an important source of tax revenue for the states, accounting for between 24 and 36% of each state's total revenue. So just think about that. Keep that in mind, what this tax was set up for, how much it is, and you know, those that have the power and the political connections can get out of this. They can give themselves an unfair competitive advantage through their lobbying. It's crony capitalism, guys. This is just wealth redistribution, and also it inhibits those that are employing people. It just makes no sense. Utterly no sense. And here in Queensland, you know, they're taxing us to the hilt, and the state's in debt. They're borrowing money to pay for just running costs, pay wages. It is just utterly insane. That's different to borrowing money for infrastructure. You know, would a small business person, sure, you borrow money for a piece of equipment. I borrowed money to buy my laser scanner because it could earn me money, and I had a job that needed it. I wouldn't borrow money to pay wages. That is just utterly ludicrous. Welcome to, you know, our political leaders. I guess that's what happens when you have a bunch of school teachers trying to run things. You know, bit harder than that tuck shop, isn't it? Although, wait a minute, they probably got the parents to run that too, didn't they? So, thousands of medium-sized South Australian businesses impacted by the pandemic will have their payroll tax relief extended under an $85 million stimulus. Are they going to have to pay it back? The state government announced the extension on Monday, which is expected to help businesses save an extra $42,000. Under the scheme, about 2,400 businesses with annual payroll of up to $4 million will be granted an extra 3 months payroll tax waiver worth about $25 million on top of the 6-month relief they already received. Oh, I hope they're not going to make them pay it back later. About 1,900 enterprises with annual wages exceeding $4 million can also continue deferring their payroll. See, this is deferring as opposed to waiver. Are the smaller ones going to get a waiver? Does that mean it's forgiven and you don't have to pay it? Or is it deferred? Or is it depending on the size of the business? So about 1,900 enterprises with annual wages exceeding $4 million can also continue to defer their payroll tax for a further 3 months if they prove to be negatively impacted by the pandemic. It will provide an additional $60 million cash flow benefit in addition to the $120 million in payroll tax waivers already received over the past 6 months. Treasurer Rob Lucas said by slashing payroll tax until the end of the year, businesses were given every chance to get back on their feet. So they admit that this is a burden that you're placing on the businesses. This is all about keeping as many South Australians in jobs as possible and helping local businesses keep their lights on and doors open as we work together to get through the greatest economic challenge of our time, he said. This will continue to ease the cash flow burden on businesses at a time when they need it most, money that can be spent in other areas of need. Over the past 6 months, we've already provided around $50 million in payroll tax relief to businesses with grouped annual wages below $4 million. And today's announcement will provide an additional $25 million to targeted savings. South Australia's unemployment rate is the highest in the country at 7.9%, while the national average is 6.8% according to the ABS. So let's have a look and see what the South Australian payroll tax is. Payroll tax rate. So, an employer or a member of a group of employers, what does that mean, a member of a group? That sounds worrying. Who in any month pays wages which are liable to payroll tax in South Australia must register for payroll tax when the Australian taxable wage of the employer or group exceeds $28,000 per week. Wow, is that all? From January 1, 19 to $11,000 per week in December. So $11,000 per week. So let's just do the calcs on that. What is that? That's only $600,000 a year. Why the hell are businesses that only have payrolls of $600,000 a year paying payroll tax? That's just insane. That is just crazy. I mean, see, stuff like this is why. It's another reason why our economic complexity is in the gutter. And it's another reason why people get into property. All of these little things, guys, they all seem small and inconsequential. And I know they're going to be idiots in the comments going, well, if you can't afford to do this, you can't run a business. Well, that's the problem, guys. The people who can't afford it or can't be bothered doing it, they can make more money just buying houses. And then we have a property bubble. Because everyone's getting into it. Because it's less of a pain. You don't need to deal with the HR problem either. Hiring people can be frustrating. There's a lot of elements there. Here you just have the risk of this. You just have to make sure you just don't do what that genius did in the other video where he spent $700,000 on a 3-bedroom apartment on the other side of the country, boarded off the plan. It's just stuff like this. This destroys innovation. This destroys incentive. This disincentivizes people from employing Australians. Okay, once you just go over that $11,000, then boom, you start hitting for it. Okay, go down to 11, and then every other person is offshored. Find ways to reduce it. Reduce your staff costs. I mean, these are all things that people consider, guys, and it impacts business. It impacts opportunities. It impacts Australia. I mean, I'll bring this up, guys. I haven't shown it for probably a whole episode. Here we have our economic complexity is 0.93. And then we'll go here. I'll bring up another one. I'll bring up the Harvard Atlas model, guys. Oh, wait. The Harvard one. Come on. Found it eventually. And they're suggesting Australia adopt strategies like other countries, everyone. Like other countries, like primitive countries, to address this. I mean, part of the reason this occurs, it gives political power. The states can forgive it. They can forgive it. They can give you a gift. They can pick winners and choosers. They can pick winners and losers. They can, support one company. We can create jobs by getting such and such big multinational here and giving them payroll tax relief. While small businesses, we'll just screw them over. We don't care about them. They're not going to get us as much press. That's the problem, guys. And this is the thing. It started with good intentions. A national scheme for child endowment. And now, 60 years later, I'd say it's played a part in deindustrializing our civilization. Pushing, encouraging people out of business into investment. What do you think? The road to hell, guys, paved with good intentions. Always is. This is just redistribution. Forced state redistribution of money. Even though it has good intentions, everyone's nice and, feels happy, you pay the price. You pay the price. When you have a system where you forcefully take from one to give to the other, you're going to increase equality. It'll just take longer to manifest. We'll have to see, everyone. What do you think the future holds for Australia? Do you think we'll ever see changes to these type of things? We'll have to look through all of these. Payroll tax is a bugbear. For me. It seems to be, constantly create jobs. So they set up the system to disincentivize the creation of jobs so they can just remove it at, when they choose to be the heroes. That's the problem with our political system. It really is. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Are you a fan of payroll tax? What would you do to avoid it? Or do you think we should, let the states have their share? As always, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments down below. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create here, there are a few ways you can. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or Kucoin. You can buy merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, guys. Have a great day. I'll see you next time.